welcome back to another video where today we are going to be breaking down the main announcements for the Doctor Who San Diego Comic-Con panel that just took place. I've literally been following each bit of news as it's come out, so as soon as everything had come out, I could jump on here, give you my thoughts on it. We have a new spin-off, officially confirmed, The War Between the Land and the Sea. We had a 5-minute preview of the Christmas special, as well as some details for Season 2 that I'm going to go over as well. But before we get into that, subscribe if you're new. If you enjoy regular Doctor Who content and learning all the latest, feel free to subscribe. I'd love it if we could get to 25,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We're about 800 subscribers away. Any support would be greatly appreciated on that front. But with that said, let's get into the video. I'm very excited, can you tell? So, we finally, formally have our announcement of The War Between the Land and the Sea. So if you don't know, this has been a long-rumoured spin-off for Doctor Who ever since around, I want to say late 2023. People have been speculating about this War Between the Land and the Sea spin-off. There was CVs, there was companies, there was all this sort of stuff. And finally now, we know what it is. It was formally announced as a 5-part spin-off series starring the following people. So you have Russell Tovey, Gugu, Macbatha, Raw, Gemma Redgrave, and Alexander Devrient. So Russell Tovey, you might recognise as Midshipman Frame, and Gugu actually played his sister, Tosh, of Martha Jones, which is ironic because there was a lot of speculation that Martha would be in this show. Russell has confirmed, though, that these two are playing new characters. But however, we do have returning Gemma Redgrave, of course, plays Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, and Alexander Devrient plays Colonel Ibrahim, the soldier who we've been seeing throughout RTD2 and the 60th specials. But I'm just going to let the man himself say it in his own words.
Which has probably been leaked online, but there we go. I'll pretend it hasn't been. We have got a new spin-off coming from the Whoniverse, a brand new show. What happens when the Doctor isn't in town? That's what these shows are about. How does the world cope? And so we've got a 5-part spin-off coming called The War Between the Land and the Sea, which is the story of the Sea Devils from Doctor Who, which were creatures from 1972. There's a race that lives beneath the oceans. They wake up and they see the state of the oceans that we have put it in. We have wrecked the place, and it is war, and it's war on an epic scale. It's got a tremendous cast. I'm here to announce that it is starring Russell Tovey, and Matt and Rob. Yeah, the two leads. We're so excited to work with them. They have both been in Doctor Who before. They're not playing the same parts. This is not Midshipman Frame teaming up with Tish Jones, which I would write, actually. Why not? Big Finish can do that. But it's important. Look at those two actors. We're so very lucky to have them. Also coming in The War Between the Land and the Sea is Gemma Redgrave as Kate Lethbridge-Stewart.
So yeah, basically that's it. So interesting. It's basically a show about the Sea Devils waking up, seeing all the pollution in the ocean and going, hang on a minute, we're taking this back. You know, you've wrecked it. Interesting concept. I'll be completely honest. When I initially heard the rumours about there being a Sea Devil spin-off with a unit involved, it wasn't my personal choice for a new spin-off. However, hearing him kind of explain it as how do they deal with a threat like this when the Doctor's away, I'm kind of interested. I mean, it's only 5 parts as well, so that means it's like kind of a nice, like, low commitment thing. You know, it's not going to sort of have an insane lore, I shouldn't imagine. I did see one of my friends and someone who's actually edited for the channel, Joey, he suggested that this could take place in the 73-yard timeline, because that's where the War Between the Land and the Sea is first mentioned by Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, and of course, he is not in that universe. So that would be pretty cool if that was a like nice little tie-in. But regardless, I'm pretty optimistic for this spin-off. Again, I'll be completely honest, it wasn't my first choice for a spin-off. However, I am very glad to be getting a spin-off at all. And once again, I think it kind of proves Doctor Who ain't going anywhere. If they've got the money and they've got the confidence to commission spin-offs, I don't think the main show is going anywhere. I saw someone on Twitter the other day saying, oh, they're you know, making spin-offs to try and save the show. It's like, that's not how that works. Unsuccessful shows that are doing badly and are on the brink of cancellation, as some places report, don't tend to get spin-offs. And if they do, they tend to be shelved. I mean, this hasn't even begun filming yet. This films in the upcoming months. So they could have always shelved this if things were really that bad for Doctor Who, as some corners of the internet are suggesting, but they haven't. A new spin-off is coming, and yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic, but it wasn't my first choice, but that's okay. The other thing that does slightly concern me about this spin-off is that it's written by Russell T Davies and co-written by Pete McTeague. So if you don't know the name Pete McTeague, he was the one who wrote Kablam and Praxeus for the Chibnall era. He also wrote various collection box set trailers. To be honest, I've never been a massive fan of Pete McTeague's episodes. Obviously, they were in the previous era, so maybe it'll be different with him working under Russell. But those episodes in particular, I've never been huge on. He was good at doing the collection box sets, and I think he did an episode of Tales of the TARDIS, which was good too. But he wouldn't have been my first choice for writer again. But I am still going to give it the benefit of the doubt because, again, you never know. Different creative team for the most part. He might work differently under that environment. But he's not my favourite Doctor Who writer of all time, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I hope he does a good job. And it's nothing personal to Pete, by the way. I'm sure he's a lovely man, and as I said, those collection box sets he's done are genuinely fantastic, but it did make me a little bit wary because I was like, ooh, Kablam and Praxeus, not my favourites. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The most meaty aspect of the Comic-Con panel, though, was this. So we got a 5-minute preview of Joy to the World, introduced by Nicola Coughlan, who will be playing the one-off Christmas companion alongside Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. And yeah, this episode seems really, really interesting. I'm not going to play it all for obvious copyright reasons, because it's only a 5-minute clip, and I'm definitely getting claimed for that. But what I will do is scrub through and show you the things that we see. So we open the Queen's Hotel, Manchester 1940. It's World War II. I actually remember seeing images of this being filmed on Twitter long ago. We have a bit of back and forth between an old-timey 40s couple talking about the war and how much they've been struggling through it and their past neighbours before Ncuti Gatwa bursts in, offering a ham and cheese toastie and I think it's a pumpkin spice latte. And they all look confused and run away. And there's a line about what does this adjoining door lead to in the room, very interestingly. We then cut to another sort of area of time, this time the Orient Express in Italy 1962, where the Doctor enters the cabins, says, "Is this your order?" Basically, "Is this your pumpkin spice latte and sandwich?" And she goes, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Wrong room, got it, see you in a bit." He then cuts again to the climbers who first climbed Mount Everest in 1953, offering them the same thing before finally eventually landing in Sandringham Hotel 2024, where we meet Nicola Coughlan's character named Joy. Joy walks into the hotel. There's a bit of an exchange between these two talking about, oh, would you like a single room? But then there's a joke about her being single, like, oh, is it that obvious? Very clearly, Moffat wrote this dialogue. You also get a nice rendition of 15's theme playing throughout a lot of this segment as well, which is really nice. She enters the room, looks around, notices it's very pink, and then she mentions again that there are doors adjoining these hotel rooms that no one ever seems to know where they go. So I'm assuming this is vital to the plot. I'm assuming Moffat's doing that thing that he likes to do, turning ordinary objects into weird, abstract ideas, statues, and now hotel doors. Interesting stuff. I think that's a very Moffat-y idea. And then essentially, the hotel staff leaves. Joy is on her own, but she is interrupted by a fly who she talks to, which I must admit caught me a little bit off guard. I'm assuming it's just a bit of character building for how lonely she is. But then we get this. A Silurian pops in the door, sort of looks confused in hotel gear, and Nicola Coughlan puts a hairdryer up to him, as if to say, back off, this is a weapon. The Silurian surrenders. He's in the manager's uniform, and then the Doctor bursts in. Very interesting. So, interesting stuff here as well. It's the Moffat-era Silurian design, which I think is very interesting, given obviously we had a redesign for the Sea Devils back in 2022 for Legend of the Sea Devils. And all of you know my thoughts on that story, but it's interesting to see the same Silurian design used. I'm assuming that's just because for the general public now, that's what they think of when they think of Silurians. I know some people aren't big on the design. I personally, I don't mind it too much. I think it works fine. But Interesting to see that the Silurians are back, and he makes mention of a line to do with our seed will hatch or something like that, which I'm going to assume is a little tie-in to the war between the land and the sea, because obviously Silurians and Sea Devils are sister species, so I'm assuming that these two things tie together in some way. It just sort of makes sense to me if that's the case. I do want to say, I do find it funny that like the first monsters Ncuti gets to meet in terms of returning ones are the toy maker, you know, in his underwear. You get Sutek, which is a cool one, but, you know, I wasn't a big fan of how he was done, and then a Silurian. I think it's just quite a weird way of going about returning villains. Not saying it's a bad thing, just an interesting point of note, I think. We also had the official name for the character Virada Sethu is playing in Season 2, Belinda Chandra. Now, if you're a Doctor Who fan like me, the surname Chandra will ring a bell for you, because that surname is the same surname of Rani Chandra of the Sarah Jane Adventures. Now, I will stress, as many other people have pointed out, Russell is a stickler for reusing surnames, so it could just be that. However, I'd love it personally if they were related in some way. That would be pretty cool if you ask me, but who knows if they actually are. There were obviously more things discussed at the panel, like specific quotes, and my good buddy Kevin has done a whole thread as he was at the convention. And I will go over some of those quotes in more detail, but for now, I'm just going to leave you with a couple of my favourite video clips from this panel. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.
Sorry, this is so embarrassing.
What they don't know this just happens when nobody walks around, and they incorporated it into the script. So.
And with all respect to the show, it was all the way back to 1963. Do you know the best surprise I had? When Rogue was going out at 7 o'clock on BBC One. In fact, you're streaming, but I was watching on BBC One. And Rogue was going out and gets to the scene where the Doctor is singing Kylie Minogue. I'm not kidding, my phone bleeped and I thought, who's texting me in the middle of Doctor Who? And I picked up my phone and it was Kylie Minogue! I'll show you, who was watching? She was watching and she went, oh my god, the Doctor's singing my song.
Responsible for bringing Doctor Who back to audiences in 2005 has once again returned to herald in the 60th anniversary and new era. Please give it up for showrunner, writer, and executive producer Russell T Davies. Youngest ever companions and best friend who has joined him on board the TARDIS. Please give a warm welcome to Ruby Sunday, played by the talented Millie Gibson, everybody! And we're not doing a Doctor Who panel without this guy, the legend, our 15th Doctor. Please give it up for Judy Godfrey, everybody!